Longmont Channel 3 Sports presents the IBM Game of the Week. Today from a sunny Everly-Montgomery field, it's crosstown rivalry Northern Conference style as the Niwot Cougars are facing the Longmont Trojans. Hello everyone, I'm Michael Rail along with Greg Herman. First time since 1989 when Niwot left the Northern Conference, went to the Tri-Valley Conference, that these two teams have played against each other. And Greg, we have two of the best teams in the Northern Conference facing each other this year, both at 5-2 and playing very well, so far undefeated in conference play.
Well, the last time that these two teams met, neither one of them won state titles. Since then, Niwot has one, Longmont has three. So the rivalry, if it exists, these guys were only 9 years old, 8, 9 years old when the last time these two teams met. And we're looking for the rivalry to start again now that they're both now in the Northern Conference.
Both of them back in the Northern Conference with the reconfiguration, jumping up to the 4A level, Niwot and Skyline, as we've already seen this year. Both teams are undefeated, but as you mentioned, these teams in Northern Conference play are doing very well. Somewhat of a surprise, though. Always we know that Longmont is good Northern Conference, but Niwot, somewhat surprising where they're at right now.
We saw them a couple weeks ago when they played the Skyline team and basically dominated that football game. Came back the following week after that big win against Skyline, came from behind to win another one. So conference play, the Cougars are looking real good. And the Trojans, we talk about it all the time, how they really focus on the conference time, and they're once again undefeated in conference.
A come from behind victory last time the Niwot Cougars played up in Greeley against Greeley West. Longmont, just a big win over Thompson Valley. They controlled that game in their last game, so both teams won on the road. They come back here, basically a home game for both, but Longmont will be at home. And we'll take a look now real quick at those conference standings. It's the haves and the have-nots in the Northern Conference. There you see is terms of the conference play, Greeley Central, Longmont, and Niwot are all 2-0. Greeley Central 6-1 overall, Longmont and Niwot both at 5-2. Then it's the have-nots, Greeley West, Thompson Valley, and Skyline, all at 0-2 in conference play. 3-4 for Greeley West, Thompson Valley 3-3, and Skyline 2-5. So this is a very pivotal Northern Conference game today for these teams.
Well, it's not unlikely to see a conference standings like that, with the exception that there are not as many teams in that conference now. But the Northern Conference, once again, will be one of the tougher teams.
Let's take a look now at our key players in this game. We'll start off with the visitors. And for the Niwot Cougars, it's number 7, Matt Sokol, their wide receiver. Now, Coach Tiny Kaler, who, by the way, had his 100th victory last week, we'll talk about more of that during the game, says that Matt Sokol's has some big catches this season and also is the team's leading receiver. He'll be important today.
Well, we talked about the maturity process of Noah Menke playing quarterback for the first time this year. As he gets more comfortable throwing the ball, the guy he is looking for is Matt Sokol, and he's put up some big yardage the last couple weeks.
And on the defensive side, the key player is number 66, Pat Longseth. Now, we talk about it all the time with Coach Kaler. He always wants to have his tackles play well. Pat Longseth is one of those defensive tackles who has to have a good game to try to help shut down this vaunted Longmont running attack.
Well, the vaunted Longmont running attack averages 10 yards per carry whenever Tony DeFalco touches the ball. And they do a lot of that with the counter tray, which means that the defensive tackle is unblocked. So the defensive tackle has got to be the guy that gets out there and makes the play on the counter tackle or on the counter tray.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with the Longmont key players and the keys to the game right after this on the Longmont Channel 3 IBM Game of the Week. Tired of the forum, we got some bare spots in the middle and also a problem with water on the field.
Well, we heard it referred to as the monsoon. Down on the southwest corner of the field, we have a broken sprinkler head, standing water down there in the corner. And as the players were making their way back to the locker room before the game, slipping and sliding occurred just trying to jog across it. It's going to be tough sledding once they get down to the run.
You have to be very careful. Let's take a look now at the key players for the home team, the Longmont Trojans. Number 71, Rob Bauer. Now, he has worked on the offensive line this year, and it has improved, according to Coach Gordon Kramer, and he helps to make that counterplay work so effectively for the Trojans.
Well, every year, Coach Kramer's got to do some rebuilding on the offensive line, and early in the season, the running game struggles just a little bit, but as the season progresses, you get guys like Rob Bauer, who really starts to understand the role, starts to feel comfortable, and starts making the key blocks.
And take a look now at the defensive key player for the Longmont Trojans, number 48, outside linebacker Shane Stevens. Stevens is a 3-year starter and a senior defensive leader for this very good Longmont Trojan defense.
And he is one of the hardest working out guys in the weight room, and he needs to be. Last year, Shane Stevens, as a junior, injured a knee, had surgery on the knee early in the year, sat out the balance of the year, comes back this year right back into the starting role that he's had for the 3 seasons. A very strong defensive leader for the Trojans.
Let's take a look now at the keys to this key Northern Conference game. Number one, the Niwot Cougars, they want to mix it up. They know that they have a very good running back in Hegwood. Hegwood has 759 yards rushing, a 4.4 average, but their quarterback, Noah Menke, is a very good passer. They're going to have to keep the Trojan defense honest, mix it up so they can be effective in this game.
Well, the Longmont defense has seen some good running backs, and they've been able to stuff them at the line of scrimmage by controlling it. For the Cougars to be successful today, they've got to be able to both run and pass and also try to take some of that pressure off the offensive line.
Number two on defense, the Niwot Cougars want to slow down the running game. Simply put, the numbers for Tony DeFalco, 1,331 yards. That's 10 yards each time he touches the ball. So obviously, they need to slow him down. In fact, talking with Coach Tiny Kaler, he said, if they can hold them, DeFalco that is, to 2, maybe 3 touchdowns, they'll have a chance to win this game.
Well, Tony DeFalco has been a strong offensive force, but the Niwot Cougars can't get too concerned about just shutting down Tony DeFalco, because when teams have keyed on DeFalco, then Joe Christman becomes a threat also running the ball. And the Trojans, if they have a weakness so far in this season, they have not been real effective in throwing the ball.
Let's take a look now at the keys to the game for the Longmont Trojans. And number one, the Trojans would like to be more consistent. This is something that Coach Gordon Kramer talks about all the time. His team getting down in the red zone but unable to punch it in for touchdowns, or they have a good drive and come back and have a bad drive. He wants his team to get it together today.
Well, over the tenure of Coach Kramer's coaching career, that is going to be something that comes up every day in practice, every week before the game. He wants the team to be consistent, to be disciplined, and that's just one of the things that really defines Trojan football.
And on defense, the Longmont Trojans would like to stop the passing game. They know of quarterback Noah Menke. They know that he can pass that ball, and they have to stop the big play from taking place for the Niwot Cougars.
Well, Noah Menke, as we said before, just starting this year at the quarterback position, was converted from, I believe it was tight end, and he has done a good job, especially throwing the touch pass and throwing the ball to the spots, which has made the Cougars a little more potent offensively.
Coach Tiny Kaler said last week against Greeley West, his team didn't play all that great. They had to come from behind to win. Coach Gordon Kramer's team on defense against Thompson Valley gave up some yardage, although not many points. Something has to give here in this game.
Well, the Trojans always look to shut out the other team. That's one of their biggest goals from the starting defensive team. But Coach Kaler, you know, he's happy that they came away with the victory, but they want to play a better football game today. This will be another measuring stick for the Niwot Cougars program, just to see how far their programs come.
Well, we'll come back here for the opening kick-off, that is, and the starting lineups right here on the Channel 3 IBM Game of the Week. For Longmont Trojans hosting the Niwot Cougars, not since 1989. As we talked about earlier, have these two teams played? And you mentioned it, Greg. Niwot has won a state championship since then, and Longmont has won 3 of them. But now Niwot back into the Northern Conference as you see the teams, the captains out at the middle of the field. But this is a very important game. And talking with Coach Tiny Keller, you would have thought maybe that Niwot would have had some problems coming back into the Northern Conference. But here his team is in first place, and he's very happy about that.
Well, the Cougars did play some stiff competition in the Tri-Valley League. You had a team like Windsor that won state championships. But one of the things about both these teams is they're used to playing in the state playoffs. As you see that Longmont will receive, Niwot wins the toss and defers and elects to make Longmont go down into that mushy part of the field.
The quagmire down there.
And Michael, let's talk about the weather real quick. We got a beautiful day out. It's about 65 degrees, a little bit of a breeze. And we're supposed to wake up with snow in the morning.
Well, right now we'll enjoy this nice weather. Almost a bit too warm to be in the tie, that's for sure, but very, very nice day. And the fans will be filtering in here as this game gets going.
A couple conflicts going on right now. One, you got a beautiful day outside. 2, you got the CU Buffaloes playing on TV in a morning game out in Kansas, so maybe lost some of the early fans to that game.
Longmont Trojans will receive the ball. Tony DeFalco last week against Thompson Valley, Greg, returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and we have seen him come close a couple of times, so he is a definite deep threat.
Well, not only a deep threat, but Tony DeFalco also is a Division I candidate at the running back position and return. He's got a couple of the big schools looking at him.
Had one of the best runs I have seen in a couple of years of doing these games. That game against Brighton earlier this year we had on the IBM Game of the Week. Very exciting, broke that game open. So David Ross will kick off here for the Niwot Cougars, and DeFalco is the single back. On either side are Sean Wing, and I believe that's Shane Stevens down there to help block as well. Just about underway here. Very important Northern Conference game. And there's the kick. Driven downfield. It's going to go out of bounds. Letting it go out of bounds, there was number 41, Chris Stanton. So the ball will come out to the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 there for the Longmont Trojans.
We'll have to see if the rivalry gets back underway. Before the game, had an opportunity to talk with both Coach Tiny Kaler and Gordon Kramer together.
Yeah. And
mentioned, hey, coaches, you know, is this a rivalry? And Coach Kramer said, only if the guys that are coaching these teams have told them about what the rivalry used to be like. And I mentioned I noticed a little water pump building out there on just off of Hover that, and Coach Kaler interrupts and said, yeah, there's a lot of blue and white on that building. And Kramer said, yeah, and I think you probably painted it.
Well, those two guys are like Sonny Lubick and Rick Neuheisel in terms they have a lot of respect for each other, and they wish each other well, except for when they play against each other. So both the coaches like each other and respect each other. Single back to Falco. Crispin's going to throw, lobs it out downfield. They're throwing over the head of number 22, Matt Magley. So an incompletion there. 2nd down and 10 for the Longmont Trojans, excuse me.
See if we can get a look at the starting lineups here real quick.
Get those run up here on 2nd down and 10.
So the Trojans will make it back to the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10 after an incomplete pass.
After this play, we'll get the starting lineups in. Crispin's the quarterback. Fakes the handoff, rolling again. He's going to run. Crispin's going to run and get good yardage. Gets a block downfield and does have the 1st down to the 47-yard line. So Crispin runs it. We talked about that earlier and gets the 1st down. Take a look here at our starting lineup. Left tackle is Rob Bauer. Left guard is Sean Wing. The center is Steve Henderson. Chris Gaddis is the right guard, and Justin Simpson is the other tackle. There you see Barry McManaman, the tight end. Ryan White, Mac Madley are the wide receivers, along with Chris Shack. Joe Chrisman is the quarterback, and Tony DeFalco, the single back in the game. 1st and 10 for the Trojans. Ball at the 47-yard line. DeFalco gets his hands on the ball for the first time. Trying to get outside, he does, and is going to be wrestled down there. A nice play across the way by number 23, Christian Doucette. That will be a gain of about 4 or 5 yards. Second down and 6. Justin Purcell, Sean Finn, Nick Lamach, Pat Longseth, and Colin Fergus is the line of that Niwot Cougars, who have to have, those blue chip players have to have a big game for Niwot if they're going to have any chance against this Longmont team. DeFalco straight up the middle, running hard, breaks into the open, he's at the 30, 25, 20, slips the tackle, 10, 5, touchdown! Tony DeFalco breaks it from just inside midfield for 6 points for the Longmont Trojans, and they just ran right through that defensive line.
So much concern about Tony DeFalco getting off tackle on the outside. This time, just a straight dive right up the middle. Good job by Gaddis sealing it off, and DeFalco just off to the races. No one's going to get him. He got a little contact, able to break the tackles, and the 6 points.
Nick Davies, the cornerback, had a chance to bring him down, but Davies went for the waist there and wasn't able to trip him up.
Once again, the Trojans live on the off-tackle play and the counter tray that goes off the tackle. This time, just a straight dive right up the middle of DeFalco. No safeties, no one there, as the extra point is good. And the Trojans jump out to a 7-0 lead.
Chris Shack converts there, the extra point. So the Trojans jump on quickly again with 10:47 to go here in the 1st quarter. The Trojans, you know, we talked about with Coach Kaler how many touchdowns he expected DeFalco to get. When I talked to him earlier this week, he said, Tony DeFalco, you can't really stop him. He's a guy you got to really just kind of try to slow down. He feels if his team is to have a chance in this game, Tony DeFalco cannot get more than 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's a lot of points to give up, Greg, but that's what he expects from Tony DeFalco. If they can hold him under 3, they might have a chance.
It's quite a concession to an offense that's high-powered. especially when your own offensive team is not known for putting a lot of points on the board. So right now the Cougars got to be a little concerned with the ease of that scoring drive by the Trojans. And one of the things we'll take note of and possibly get a report from Jeff Pfeiffer a little later on, but Tony DeFalco down on the sidelines getting his ankle taped.
Looks like he's okay. Kickoff there by Chris Shack. Comes down and into the hands of Hegwood. Hegwood fumbles, falls on the ground. They're going to call him down. They are going to call him down. Almost a huge play there.
That's one of those instances there, Michael, where the ground cannot cause the fumble. He had a lot of contact, but as he goes down, as he hit the ground, the ball came loose. Once again, the ground cannot cause the fumble.
So that is big. Now, Travis Hegwood, we didn't talk about him during the open, but he has a very respectable 700 and, I think so, over 735 yards rushing this year. That's pretty good for the state of Colorado. One of the best running backs, 754 yards on an average of 4.4 yards per carry. So he had a big game last week as well. First thing they do is try to pass the ball out there to our key player, number 7, but it's an incompletion to Matt Sokol, and we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the Niwot Cougars. Matt Sokol, Nick Bain are the wide receivers, Colin Strong the tight end. The fullback is Eric Vigil, and Travis Hegwood is the tailback, Noah Menke the quarterback. Jeff Gould, Joe May, Sam O'Donnell, Pat Longseth, and Sean Finn are the offensive linemen for this team.
Well, on the first play right there, Menke's pass just a little too tall for Sokol, but good coverage by Eric Wheeler.
They do the counter play there to Hegwood. Hegwood gets out for a couple of yards. We'll take a look at this Longmont defensive team. Jake Schenk, Mike Swizzler, Eric Gleba, Chris Gaddis, Shane Stevens, Chris Stanton, and Barry Hansen, the line and the linebackers. Defensive secondary, Eric Wheeler, Brad Harvey, John Paul Peterson, and Ace Ward.
Looks like, well, we'll take a look at it there. It does not look like John Paul Peterson's in the lineup right now.
Menke dropping, throw, has the receiver open, has good yardage out past the 35. And a good play there on the catch and run by number 23, Christian Gisette. And we'll take a look at this on the replay, Greg.
Good job of getting him just enough protection for what he needs. Receiver on the outside flats, releases.
About a 16-yard pickup there for Gisette.
Coming out of the tight end position, a good read by Menke.
Hand off to Hegwood. He has good yardage. He's going downfield, and he is into Longmont territory at the 45-yard line. A pickup there, about 15 yards. First down and 10. Good run back, or good play by the running back there.
You see it here, Longmont did it, just a straight dive right up the middle, a little bit of trap action. Hegwood running hard through the middle, Harvey with the tackle. Ace Ward also helps out, but the the Cougars, 1st and 10, they're marching right back up the field.
James Gabler playing a lot in that free safety position as well. Hegwood with good yardage, good surge there by that offensive line. And they get over 5 yards on that. Second down. 4 yards. Ball at the Longmont 39-yard line. So the Trojans go right down and score a touchdown. And the Niwot Cougars, no slouches themselves, moving the ball downfield against this Trojan defense. Menke looking, throws out of the backfield to Hegwood, who does have the first down. He puts the ball on the ground, though. That's been his problem, and is recovered by the Niwot Cougars. We've seen him fumble already once this game. Got it back. The ground did not cause the fumble the first time. That one there, though, was recovered, and they lost the first down they had.
See Menke watching downfield, no one there, so they kick it out to the release, which is Hegwood. He gets hit from behind by number 90, Mike Zwizzler. Ball comes loose.
They're going to measure here.
But the Cougar is able to pounce on it.
1st and 10. Niwot continues to roll.
We'd mentioned that John Paul Peterson was in the starting lineup. We see him down on the sidelines in street clothes. So
Gabler is taking his place. It looks as though Peterson will not play in this football game. So 1st and 10, ball just inside the 35-yard line. Niwot Cougars, Noah Menke doing a good job rolling this team downfield. Here's the option. Menke keeps it and actually is able to get a few yards there. I thought he should have pitched it, but he did keep it and get about 4 on that run.
Well, Shane Stevens was out on the flank, causing the force on the pitch, and Menke just decided to pick up the easy 4 yards that he could get instead of making a dangerous pitch and maybe a loss.
Trojans running their plays in and out from the sideline. Sokol will come out. So far, they've mixed it up very well, this Niwot team. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to mix it up. And they are doing a good job. Here's the counter play right there, getting good yardage, is number 45, Colin Strong.
I'll bring up about a 3rd down and 5. Talked 2 weeks ago about the Cougars really liking to run that counter play off the flank.
3rd down and 5, 7:25 to go here in the first quarter. Key play for both these teams. Edgewood the deep back. Gonna look for the pass, Menke rolling, throws the ball downfield, interception! Right into the hands of number 37 for the Longmont Trojans. And that is the interception subbing there. Eric Wheeler, the corner, comes up with the interception. So a big play there to stop the drive.
Eric Wheeler reads it early, a pump and go. Menke doesn't have the time. He waves the receiver downfield, but Wheeler there, a very ill-advised pass by Menke.
Yeah, Menke there, you're right. He was under some pressure. He sent his receiver downfield, but of course Eric Wheeler saw that as well and grabbed that interception. So the first turnover goes to Niwot. Crispin's gonna run. Crispin tries to turn upfield and get some good yardage. Pulled down by number 32 for the Niwot Cougars.
If you're gonna send your quarterback out on a bootleg play, you want to have number 56 Gaddis leading the way, and we'll take a look at the rest of the defensive lineup for the Cougars. You got Christian Doucette, linebacker, Steve Edstrom, Matt Sokol, Andy Diaz, David Ross, and Nick Davies round out the backfield. So the Trojans with 2nd down and about 3 yards.
Quick pop here, ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, but still a reception there. Got the ball to number 13, Ryan White, and that is the 1st down. Ball at the 34-yard line for the Trojans, 1st and 10.
Take a look at the replay here. 2-step drop, quick pass, deflected at the line. Ryan White does a good job of coming back towards the ball.